My name is Gianna. I'm a fourth-year undergraduate student at UCLA, and Maddie and I started End Overdose at UCLA and have been helping doing outreach on our college campus.
My name is Maddie Ward, and I'm a second-year student at UCLA. And as Gianna said, we've been working on getting a chapter started at UCLA, and it's actually the first college chapter of End Overdose. So actually ensure that students who might not be aware of these problems are becoming aware of them. It's been quite the project, but really fun so far. Gianna and I first got introduced to End Overdose when Theo came and spoke to a chapter of our club UAM at UCLA, and we were able to kind of hear about his personal stake, I think, in the mission, and that really, I think, pushed both of us to be this is an organization that we want to get behind and we want to bring to the students at UCLA. I definitely realized that there was a problem with fentanyl specifically, just because there were people from my high school who overdosed on fentanyl accidentally, and I didn't really realize how big of an issue it was until that had happened, because then I started kind of Googling it. And I'm from San Diego, so being from San Diego, that has been a huge problem there recently. And I think when I got to college, it was just kind of weird for me to see sometimes people using illicit substances and not even knowing that there is a need for them to test it. And I definitely felt uncomfortable seeing that, because I was I'm not necessarily uncomfortable with people using drugs, but if there is this huge risk of them dying from using it, I want to make sure that my peers able to help themselves and help other people. We really want to make sure that we're also educating the students at UCLA on the fact that there is a problem in the first place.
We've started at the frats and sororities. We go to their chapter meetings and we give presentations about how to recognize and respond to an overdose, and also we give them resources like fentanyl test strips and Narcan to supply for their house.
We pass out fentanyl test strips over 2 times a week usually for upwards of 5 hours, and so we try to just as much as possible make those resources available. And then we also have open trainings that we're planning currently.
We just feel it's been a huge need and a huge opportunity for us to bring resources there.
People being oh, are you guys promoting drug use on campus? Because obviously you're making it safer for people to use drugs. And our response to that has always been we're just focused on making sure everyone is healthy and safe. And it doesn't matter the things that you choose to do in your free time. You should have a right to live and a right to be safe no matter what choices you make. So I think a lot of people that we've talked to kind of understand now that there is a problem with fentanyl, but a lot of them didn't know there was resources for them to respond to that. They didn't know that Narcan existed and there was a way to reverse an opioid overdose, or that fentanyl test strips existed and they could prevent overdosing before they even use the drug. So I think actually telling them this is a problem and these are the resources that we have to solve it has been really helpful, and also engaged a lot of students in our mission.
Students have been very receptive, and they recognize that they do want these resources, and they're very receptive in promoting our mission and learning more. We're not for or against drug use, we're just trying to promote that people should be safe, and that stance is a little controversial, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah. Short-term goals are definitely setting up more consistent funding for our organization, because we want to make sure in the long term that our resources are always going to be available to students at UCLA. And we've really been trying to focus on ways that we can get the university to support our mission and kind of support us via funding, and also just by spreading our mission across campus. Recently we've been working on getting fundraising concerts on campus so that we can kind of raise awareness through that avenue, and also we'll be distributing test strips and stuff at those, and also talking to UCLA residential life so that we can get RAs trained just in case any incidents happen in the dorms or anything like that. If anyone in that building is using drugs, they should have that resource available there. So we just want to make sure that it's as accessible as possible, and also that people don't necessarily have to put themselves in the position where they're oh, I need this resource, if they're uncomfortable coming out to get it. And it's just been fun. I think it's been fun work because we know it's like helping people, and like we get to see like the people that we're helping directly, which I think has been so different from a lot of the other like organizations that we've worked with in the past. And I think too, like the fact that this was like something that wasn't available at UCLA at all before, and now seeing that like people are like actually coming up to me and like asking questions about it and stuff, or like actually interested in learning more, like that's just been like the best thing.
Like the people that we're doing outreach to are the people in our classes, the people like in our friend groups, and I think the reason that's really important is because like we have a shared community that we want to keep safe, and we want to keep our friends safe and the people in our classes safe, and we like all care about each other, which is the really cool thing about what we do on campus.
It's been really nice to point people to endoverdose.net as well to get Narcan and fentanyl test strips, and also get trained on how to respond or like prevent an opioid overdose. So all of those resources I think have been like really wonderful for us to give out.
Since we've started doing this in February, we've trained 1,000 people at UCLA, which is really cool because that means there's over 1,000 more people who can save a life on campus. And hopefully those 1,000 people also tell like their friends where they can get resources, and it just becomes like a bigger thing. And what we're trying to do is like spread public awareness so that people do recognize that this is a problem that they should care about.
I think ending overdose is like really important to me because I just want to make sure that all of my peers are as like safe as they possibly can be, and also that they have the ability to help themselves. Like I think it makes me really sad to know that a lot of people who have overdosed on fentanyl probably didn't even know that that was a risk that they were taking. So at least making sure that like people are aware of all of the risks of like drug use before that they use. Like I just want to make sure that they have that knowledge and that ability to make an actually informed decision for themselves.